Namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer, and today I have the good fortune of Dr. Subramanian Swamy, who has kindly accepted to come talk to us about the recent judgment or the decision of the Uttarakhand state government to withdraw the bill that was taking over the 51 temples. Dr. Swamy, namaskar. And first of all, congratulations to you, sir. You were the one person who did not give up and who showed that this is the right thing to do. Whether better sense prevailed now or before, it could have been better if it had happened before, but it is never too late. And Dr. Swamy, in terms of the implications of this countrywide, does now BJP have a unified policy saying that we are against temple takeover or management by government? Because that is very important in the southern states. What do you feel, sir?
Well, the BJP had always a very cogent, clear position backed by the RSS that temples will be managed by the devotees. Those who build the temples or those who worship in the temples by whatever procedures that they want to adopt. And there is no provision in the constitution for the state to own any temples. This whole process of owning temples by the government or taking full control started with the British, who felt that the entire freedom movement sentiment was being fostered in the congregation that was taking place with in the temples. So they began the process of identifying temples and taking them over. And then in 1925, the government of Tamil Nadu, or then time called the government of Madras, they introduced an act, and then it caught on for the rest of India. There's no a single act for the whole country, but there are acts for each state, and they have, each of them has their own restrictions and so on. The core thing in the constitution is that the temple, its sanctum sanctorum, all these cannot be owned by the government, cannot be taken even temporarily by the government. However, there are some secular functions of a temple, such as collecting money, making records for it, investing it properly, spending it properly. That the government, if it finds there has been a malified behavior, for which they have to show a prima facie case in writing, thereafter the government can provide for a possibility of a temporary, maybe less than 4 years, for them to set right the financial mismanagement, and then even that should be returned. However, we find Tirupati temple, 1933, it was taken over by the British government.
Yes.
There are so many temples like this. The recent example of a brazen takeover of a temple was about 10 years ago when Karunanidhi took over the Sabhanayakar Nataraj temple. And it was shocking that these poor pujaris, or they were called Dikshitars, they went to the High Court, lost in the single bench, division bench, and then they lost all their nerve and their stamina, and they decided not to proceed any further and accept their fate. It is that time that Swamy Dayanand Saraswati intervened and asked me to take it up. Although I had no locus standi because I was not there in the single judge level of the High Court or in the division bench. And so the Supreme Court had said, how did you suddenly parachute into this? You don't belong here. But fortunately, I had got the title from Swamy Dayanand Saraswati as the convener of the legal cell of the Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha. And that gave me the status to appear in the Supreme Court. And we won it. And there the law was laid down that temples cannot be touched by the government. But if there is a financial mismanagement, they can temporarily, after proving the prima facie case of financial mismanagement, they can take it over, rectify it, and then they must return even that function back to the temple. So that is the prevailing law. Now, when I go to states and say, why are you still keeping the temple? Take Tirupati. I said, why are you keeping it when this is the Supreme Court order? They say, well, I mean, nobody has told us this. If you want, you go to court. And so I've gone to court. She's saying that Tirupati should be. I went for Padmanabha Swamy temple also. There the court said, we agree with you. But who do we give it to? So I said it was built by the money of the royalty, Travancore Raja. So give it to him. So they said, but we in the constitution don't recognize Rajas anymore. So we can't agree. So I have to come to the Supreme Court to find a way by which it can be done. I think let me say this, all these prominent sadhus of this country, and I'm sorry, I miss Swamy Dayanand Saraswati very much. He's passed away. He's attained samadhi. But we need all the sadhus and sannyasis to come together. And I'm going to see the Shringeri Acharya very soon, Shankaracharya soon. And I hope to persuade him that let there be a congregation to decide.
So, Dr. Swamy, thanks for that backdrop. Now, there are a couple of observations that I'd like to make as a Sanatani. And the video will come back, but the audio is still audible to everybody. There are a couple of comments that I'd like to make as a Sanatani. When you stood for the priests of Kedarnath, Badrinath, somebody in your own party unleashed a verbal volley of all sorts of invectives that really, really goes to the core of who it is that so vested in trying to run you down. I mean, Dr. Swamy, I'm asking all these people, look, you vomited a lot of stuff. Are you now willing to take it back? Shame on you. Isn't this also a person from your own party? When there is something that has to be done the right way, why do you sacrifice it at the altar of politics? This was the brain-dead decision, needless self-goal for the Modi government. Dr. Swamy, do you think it is important that the Prime Minister find out who started this campaign and set this thing right? I mean, there is something like everybody loves the country. Then why go back and do these kinds of pot shots at people?
The worst was the officer on special duty with the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, some fellow called Bhatt. And he burst out saying that because I was going to challenge the act, the Takeover Act, which was passed by the Uttarakhand government in the assembly. He said, if he comes here to argue the case, he will not go back alive. I said, very good. But that coward disappeared after I came. And he was an OSD of the Chief Minister. And unfortunately, there has been a tendency in our party recently, it's unbecoming of our Hindu Sanskriti, where riffraffs have become paid to put out fake IDs under fake IDs to Twitter and say horrible things so that you feel disgusted and leave. But then I've got a thick skin, and the man who has the last laugh has the best laugh.
Absolutely, sir. And somehow the video has stopped working, but the audio is still available. So viewers, we have a few more things that we want to observe. Dr. Swamy, now that at least from this Supreme Court case that you had going, your time is freed up a little bit. What are the other interesting things that you're looking at right now?
Well, I still got the cases pending in the Supreme Court on Kashi Vishwanath, on that temple in Padmanabha Swamy temple, Tirupati. I have.
Okay, so we are back with video. Sorry for that. So, Dr. Swamy, please start back from what are the things you're working on, sir?
So I've already got pending cases. Archakas in Tamil Nadu being appointed by the state government. I've challenged that in the Supreme Court. The fact that Kashi Vishwanath is still built upon with the masjid, that's another. Krishna Janmabhoomi. And then, of course, in Maharashtra, in Pandharpur.
Oh, this
Krishna
is something
Mandir.
new, sir. Pandharpur.
Yes, Pandharpur has actually, perhaps I thought was an impossible case because the people there had already gone to court and produced a poor show, and they lost all the way to the Supreme Court. So that's usually taken as final. But I found that the issue they should have taken, they didn't take up. So now I've got an opening. I've got very bright juniors in my chamber, law chamber, and so we are going to file a case very soon on that. So I'm doing this, but you see, I would like the acharyas, our religious acharyas, to come together and tell the government there are 4 lakh or 400,000 temples under government control, and hand it all over to us, and we will find appropriate trustees for them so that they can manage it in the future. That's the only way. Otherwise, I can't go on fighting a single case each time. There are 400,000.
Correct.
4 lakhs,
Right.
which are in the hands of the government.
And when you say something like this, right, the first thing I can see people giving this comment saying, "Oh, if we give you 4 lakh, do you have all the people set up in all these temples to take and run?" We can have it in a phased manner.
Of course.
You have it in a phased manner where they say, these are the requirements. Once we are set up with these things, then we'll come and say, okay, you gracefully give charge, and these are the people who are going to take over.
But these 4 lakhs are with the government.
Yes, I'm saying the government.
Yeah, where did those people come from?
Right.
They are also, the temples are still functioning.
Correct.
Only that the money is being taken away by the government.
Right.
The land is being stolen by the government. So I'm saying that there is no question of where you're going to find these pujaris and the archakas to run temples. They're already there.
Right.
All that will happen is that the management would change. That's all.
Correct. So that was one thing, sir. Lastly, we are almost done, sir.
Yes.
Last question for you, sir. The goings on in DMK run Tamil Nadu government are nothing but concern. These guys take up something or the other every day, and everything is against the law, and everything is adharmic. And then they say this is the land of Periyar. Yesterday, their HR&C minister said some nonsense stuff, and he thinks that he can get away with it. And what the problem, Dr. Swamy, is this judgment, this decision will stop them from doing any more mischief. Every day they are doing something in HR&C. They think that they are above the law, that they are doing everything right. Dr. Swamy, I really want you to teach a lesson to these guys. These people think that they think no end of themselves. That's the only way I can say. By the way, we are coming out with more stuff on what happened 2 days ago in pouring rain. They destroyed a temple just because that temple had a casteless worship where everybody would go and do puja for themselves. And it was doing a lot of things that would have gone against the grain of all the nonsense these guys put. I'm sorry to go on a rant, Dr. Swamy, but I would like to request you, sir. I think you need to keep your eyes on this MK Stalin group gang. This gang is very mischievous.
Well, the thing is that the people of Tamil Nadu should be grateful if I do that. But I have found them to be the most ungrateful people in my political experience.
Sir, there are 100 ungratefuls, but there are also some grateful ones, sir. I take my encouragement, my direction.
Let the Tamil Nadu people first, religious people. I'm not talking about everybody in Tamil Nadu. I'm talking about the people who are religious, who love to sport their vibhuti on their forehead. Vote for somebody without taking his money from him. In Tamil Nadu, everybody is taking money for a vote. And it's very difficult because I did win once. Because at that time, the people were grateful that I got them relief from Jayalalitha, who was terrible for them. But no sooner I got finished with that, the next day they were doing propaganda. I said, if Singapore can be modernized, why Madurai cannot be modernized? I will do it. Unfortunately, the elections came 1 year after I got the previous elections. So 5 years, I got 1 year. Everywhere the campaign was, what happened to Singapore? You said Singapore, you will make Madurai into Singapore. Where is the Singapore? I mean, I can't believe that people, they were programmed by the DMK. The DMK propaganda machinery has to be first tackled. When I get individually into a picture, they back off. Like that school.
Yes, PSBB.
PSBB, which, it looked as if they were about to take it over. When I got into it, I got a message from the government of Tamil Nadu. We are not touching it. And the matter ended. But are these school principals and the patrons and the donors, are they grateful? They didn't even send me a thank you note. So this Tamil Nadu problem is because the British reduced us to this kind of behavior. It is not there in other places. Sabanayakar temple, I got it released. I have not seen any Tamil group saying, please come and address our meeting and tell us how we did it so that we can replicate it elsewhere. So Tamil Nadu is a bad case. And over a period of time, I will do something. But in other places, take Uttarakhand. I just filed a case and now everybody came out on the street.
Yes.
Okay. So therefore, I would say, don't expect me to do something or any individual to do anything unless there is a active people's backup. There are great ones that are criticizing me. And there are a lot of sham intellectuals whose names I need not take, but you can guess.
Yes, 100%.
And they will come, they'll pontificate, but the moment the crackdown comes, they'll all run away.
So, Dr. Swamy, thank you so much for taking time out from your very busy schedule.
Yes.
And viewers, do my humble request to all the people who are speaking Tamil, or at least from the state of Tamil Nadu, please hashtag thank you Swamy. Okay. He has done countless stuff for you. And don't go by what the media writes about him. And these people are all Tiruchifiers. Why do you think he called them by a 5-letter word? Okay. Why do you think he said that? Please understand, Dr. Swamy measures his words carefully. He called one of your upcoming politicians a pompous idiot every time he proves him right when he opens his mouth. So he has got the collective IQ of maybe 1,000 of us. Let's accept it first. So thank you so much, Dr. Swamy, and say please hashtag thank you Swamy, and sir, may God be with you, and we are with you, and we will fight this thing, and the temples belong to the Sanatanis. Thank you very much, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you.